Welcome to this screencast to introduce the Level 5 Teaching Functional Skills English Blended Learning course. This course has been produced in conjunction with the Education and Training Foundation and WIMSET, the West Midlands Centre for Excellence in Teacher Training. Here are the learning outcomes for the course. It's expected that by the end, participants will be able to motivate and engage reluctant learners and address their barriers to English learning. This is especially true for learners who have tried again and again to gain qualifications in English. The course will help you to plan teaching and learning in accordance with the new subject content for functional skills, which needs to be used from the end of August, beginning of September. We'll be exploring active approaches to learning, speaking and listening and developing those skills which are often neglected, developing reading and supporting writing. We'll be contextualising, and often it's the participants who'll bring the context to ensure that English is applicable in vocational learning and supports and develops the use of English in meaningful everyday situations. The overall aim of the course is to ensure that learners' communication skills, both spoken and written, are developed, and that general teaching skills are developed too, so that we look at assessment for learning approaches, teaching learners the things that they need and not already the things that they're good at. Finally, we'll be preparing learners for the requirements of summative assessment, so the tests that come at the end of their courses. The blended learning course is delivered by a combination of 3 different modes. There are 3 full face-to-face training days. There are online webinars, which last about 90 minutes, and independent online study. We predict that you'd need to do between 9 and 10 hours of that, and that if you want to continue and gain a qualification by the end of the course, you'd need to do probably a bit more work than that. In order to complete the course, you will definitely have to have regular access to a computer with internet connection. Here's an outline of the whole course. Unit 1 looks at starting points. There's a webinar, so you can do that from your place of work or at home, and some online tasks to be completed before you come to Unit 2, which is a face-to-face training day, followed by online tasks, looking at communication for life and work, and here predominantly speaking and listening. Unit 3 looks at additional learning needs, in particular dyslexia, as it affects literacy skills. And again, there's a webinar and online tasks. And then Unit 4 has a training day, looking at developing reading and writing at both entry level and levels 1 and 2. Because spelling is now included quite significantly in the functional skills subject content, there's a session and a whole unit, in fact, on spelling, punctuation and grammar, with quite a few online tasks and a webinar for that. And then finally, there's a training day in which the course is pulled together with participants presenting tasks and activities that they've developed together. When you log in to the course website, which is on Moodle, you will see this view on the right-hand side. Each of these different tabs contains information about the course. Let's have a look at it now. As you can see, there's general course information here and the course tasks. If you have any questions about the background to the course, this is the tab to click on. All the course tasks that you'll be asked to complete are contained here. And there's a blog, which is a reflective diary, really, that only you and your course tutor can see. As part of the course, we ask that you enter the discussion forum so that you can carry out conversations online about the work that you're doing and the things that you're learning with your fellow participants. There's a tab for the course materials, and all the course materials are available to you. There are some English teaching resources that you can contribute to so that we get more of a collection there. And there's a reading room where background research and studies have been collated for you. And if you decide that you want to continue with the course accreditation, you'll probably use this section to find out more information. If we go into the course tasks tab, we can look at some of the things that you have to do from the beginning of the course. There's a course overview here of the different units. If we click on starting points, it will take you to the initial tasks to do before the first webinar. We ask that you go to the course forum and introduce yourself if you don't already know the other participants. And then that you visit Foundation Online Learning, which is a website run by the Education and Training Foundation. We ask that you go on to Foundation Online Learning and follow the tab on this link here to read about the professional standards for FE teachers and trainers. Here, we'd like you to assess yourself against these professional standards and keep a copy of it so that you can consider what stage you're at in your development. As well as that, there's an English Pathways link on the Foundation Online Learning site. Here, we'd ask you to go to the self-evaluation section and assess your English skills so that you can recognise and work out what the gaps might be in your knowledge. Then you can continue and retain that self-evaluation, and if you need to, have a look at some of the English modules there, which are designed to help you fill in the gaps in your personal skills and to brush up. There are links to ideas about teaching and teaching resources in there too, so it's quite a useful place to have a look. Let's go back to the website now. Having done the introductory tasks and the self-assessments, you'll participate in an interactive webinar for about 90 minutes, followed by some more tasks as seen here, and some work on growth mindsets. If you haven't already seen this film, there's a link there, so it's quite interesting to have a look at that because we'll certainly be discussing it. As mentioned, all the other course materials are available to you, and these are the things that we ask you to do as part of the course. So there'll be watching screencasts, a bit like this one, some background reading of short articles, film clips to watch, quizzes and self-assessments, and reflection on learning throughout. As you do the online tasks, we ask you to respond in one of two ways. As I mentioned earlier, the personal blog is your way of communicating with your tutor and recording your reflections about how your learning's going and other ideas that might occur to you about your teaching as you go through. That's only available to you and your tutor and will be the basis for the work that you do if you decide to do the accreditation at the end of the course. The forum is the more public aspect of it, where you'll be sharing ideas with colleagues and other participants on the course. I mentioned that on the final day, there'll be presentations of activities. Part of the accreditation, but also part of the course completion, is for you to get creative with your colleagues. So we'll be giving you some themes to work around and asking you to develop teaching activities and resources to underpin and develop further the speaking and listening skills, the reading and writing skills of your learners. Groups for these presentations will be decided beforehand. We're not asking you to do it by yourself. It's a collaborative effort, and you'll know who you're working with. It's always useful to have people to bounce ideas against. In order to get the certificate for the course, we ask that you attend at least 2 out of the 3 training days, about 80% of the course. Also, that you attend the online webinars and complete all the tasks that are part of the course. Obviously, the participation and performance of presentation at the end is part of this too. If you do decide to do the optional accreditation, and there is an additional fee for this, the accreditation is through Ascentis and it's valued at 15 units at level 5. In order to get the accreditation, we'd ask that you complete case studies of 2 learners, analyse different approaches to teaching and learning functional skills. These you'll have explored on the course and in your background reading, and in discussions with colleagues in the forum, in the staff room, wherever you do your professional discussions. And the completion of a reflective diary, which for you is the blog that you'll have completed throughout the course anyway. You should by now know the name of the tutor for your course and have details to email if you've got any questions. But in the webinar at the end, on the first course day, you'll have an opportunity to ask any more questions that have occurred to you as you go through this. I hope that you'll enjoy the course and that you get a lot out of it, and that it will be a collaborative developmental activity for everyone involved.